Good morning, loves. Blessings. This finds you all loving life and feeling fabulous. I woke this morning from not horribly disturbing, but emotionally upsetting to some extent dream. And I'm extremely emotionally sensitive. That's why I do what I do. To assist myself and thus all of we to achieve that which we are here to in this era, emotional maturity. And so I came with much emotional maturity to achieve. So I woke this morning and I had, as a result of being discomforted from the dream that I woke from, a process that I went through. And as it's so relevant right now in my mind, I thought this would be a very apropos moment to take a moment to share with everyone. We oftentimes ask questions like, why does getting over something have to take so long? And can't enlightenment just be like, an overnight thing, and when you flick on the switch and so on and so forth? And it can be, really can be. And when we finally awaken, it is in the moment of awakening that it's a moment. But there is a process, and there's a process because the manner by which we interact in this world, by which we operate, the operating system that we function as a species, as a collective, all of we, for the majority of we anyways, for the last several thousand years, has been one of fear. So much so that one can say our greatest addiction as a collective is to fear consciousness. So I'm going to bring it down now into more easier language, as opposed to paradigms, consciousness, ascension, transcendence. So we all tell stories about our lives, right? And the stories we tell us who we are, and they tell us about the world that we live in. So when I awoke this morning, the dream that I was having, I didn't like the role that I was playing and the story that was being told, and it made me feel less than and not enough. And I'm sure many people have, of all ages, had the thought, I'm this age and I should have achieved. I'm not where I am supposed to be by the mere fact that I'm here at this age and stage of my life. And I say of all ages because I've been around the corner a couple of times now, and closing in on 50. I know that at 20, I was saying similar things. And I'm also surrounded by a beautiful array of earth angels divine of all varying ages and stages of life. And all have been known to say something similar at some point. So it's across the ages and stages that we have these preconceived notions of where we should be, and essentially barometers of measurement of what one would say is success. So I need to hit this in order to say that at this stage or at this age I've achieved success, and I need to hit this marker and this marker and this marker, and these are the markers, so on and so forth, which are really illusory. They aren't true markers of success. They're the markers that we as a species have placed there, living in a different time, living in a different area, living with a different community. Our barometers of measurement may be different, definitely are different. So it's not true constructs of success. It's not true measurements of success. It's based on our value systems and what we've placed there. Or in another way of saying, it's based on the story that we're telling. So I found myself, based upon the inspiration that I received from my dream, spending my morning this morning making my tea and cleaning the home and so on and so forth, getting ready to come to work. telling myself a story about that was playing off of the emotions that were raised in the dream. So, you know, it was a story of less than, and essentially berating myself and telling myself about how I'm not X, Y, and Z, and I haven't done A, B, and C, and oh my gosh, it's very heavy, isn't it, when we speak to ourselves like that, and we're spinning these stories, and woo, the stories that we do spin. Our minds are magnificent machines, to use a word very flippantly, but really, like, the computational organization of our minds is quite incredible. You basically put in some information, and then your mind goes, and it pops out for you, basically exponentially, like to the thousandth fold of what you've put in. So you could put in 3 words and it'll give you back a whole story that supports those 3 words. So if the words that you're putting in are, I'm not enough, your mind is going to give you a book's worth of why you're not enough. That's how amazing our minds work. Of course, they work with anything we put in. So if we tell our minds, I'm enough, I'm amazing, our minds will go, and it's basically like going on a search engine and getting all the information that supports whatever story you've just fed it. We tend to, it's like a snowball, because we're feeding into what the mind is providing us. So as I'm feeding into all of the not enoughs and should haves and could haves and haven'ts and so on and so forth, I'm feeding into that. And I'm feeding into it because of our addiction to fear. Because we're addicted to putting ourselves down. We are addicted to telling ourselves we're not enough. We are addicted to looking at life and ourselves through fear. And oh my gosh, and I better get my shit together, and if we don't do it that way, then we feel like we're not going to get our shit together, because we're just going to be lackadaisical and we won't do anything, and we're going to sit on our arses all day and like stare at the sky or you know, count daisies or what have you, when in truth, how many of us actually enjoy sitting on our arses all day after day after day after day? Even if we had billions upon billions of dollars of money, have achieved success in every way possible, who amongst us actually enjoys doing nothing for elongated, extended periods of time where nothing is actually being achieved? Even when we're doing nothing, when we're on vacation, we enjoy interacting with others, learning, having new experiences. So we have a story of fallacy regarding ourselves that's based in fear, that keeps us jonesing on the fear, because we're afraid that we won't do without it, when in truth we do so much better without it. Definitely divine delicate balance, if you will, between the two emotions, you know, the stress and the relaxation, a nice, you know, divine delicate balance between masculine and feminine. But we're not really talking about that as much as the fear right now. But I guess I could massage it into that. Anyways, I digress. So as I'm telling my story, there comes a point where I take a breath and I'm like, okay, this is really going to ruin my day today. I'm not going to be able to accomplish very much. I'm feeling really heavy right now. I'm not happy. And I sat down for a moment, and there was the entire time little comments that were being made back here that I wasn't really paying attention to. So I kind of stopped a minute and said, okay, what are you saying back there? What was that? Like, well, you know, if you look at it from this perspective, you're quite successful and quite amazing, and look what you've accomplished, and you know, you've chosen to walk a pathway less traveled and check out the life you've created and the people you're surrounded with and the experiences that you've had. Suddenly my airways are opening, I'm breathing a little lighter, having a better time of it. I'm recognizing in the moment that I'm changing my story. The story I'm investing in has changed. And in that moment, it was a moment, it was a flip of a switch. I chose to go that way. So yes, healing can be instantaneous. But there is the process of it because it is an addiction. And as much as in a moment we may choose it, the same way that someone has quit smoking, they can quit for a week, they can quit for 3 months, they can quit for 3 years. But there still might be cravings, and there still might be an opportunity for them to light up again and wind up going back down that pathway. So we need a persistent commitment to choosing love consciousness, to choosing the stories that uplift and assist instead of belittle and imprison. And we need to also, to be able to do that, recognize that it is an addiction that we're dealing with, and assist ourselves in however many ways that we can to empower, uplift, and enlighten ourselves, to stay committed to telling better stories. And as more of us do so, we are a species who's a social species, so we share, right? So as more of us are telling ourselves better stories, we start telling each other our stories, which assists others to tell themselves better stories, and on and on and on it goes, which is why self-love is so important, which is why the first place that we focus on is self, because we don't have power or control over others. You don't have the right to tell somebody else, you have to, but for yourself, you can say, that story, this one feels good to me. And we know it feels good to me, right? So we focus on the me, and we share the me we love ourselves to be with others, and give them permission to focus on the me that they love. And again, so on and so on and so on. So here is to all of we choosing to tell better stories and to see ourselves through the eyes of love, and to embrace ourselves within the embrace of love, and to be the me we love ourselves to be, in every now, always, with the greatest of ease and blossoming bliss. In Lakesh Alakin, namaste, mwah, bliss kiss to one and all, blessedly be.